All right, let's talk about multiplication. This is a big one. A lot of times multiplication can trip kids up, or parents aren't quite sure how to teach it and how to have their kids master it. First thing you should know is that multiplication is a big leap for kids. I didn't realize this until I was researching the Apology of Math series, but a lot of the research says that the jump from addition and subtraction to multiplication and then later division is the biggest leap that kids make cognitively in elementary mathematics. And if you think about it, it is a really big leap. When we're doing addition and subtraction, it's pretty easy to keep it concrete. You can use your fingers, you can count something out, you can take things away. Once you get into multiplication, pretty quickly, it is hard to count it up, right? And you have to just learn it. So just keep in mind that it is a big leap. Also, it's not going away. This is one of my speeches, is that you've got to learn those multiplication facts, that kids really have to grasp multiplication. And when kids do struggle, which many of them do, the answer is not to kick the can down the road and just hope it works itself out, because it ends up just kind of compounding as a problem. Multiplication and multiplication facts is the basis of factors, prime numbers, factoring quadratic equations. I mean, it just will keep haunting you. So if you as the parent can invest some time and some energy and really teach this well, you're gonna get really big dividends on that investment. And I just am upfront with students when I work with them or with my own kids. You gotta learn this. It's really important. We're gonna make it fun, but we have to get this down, okay? In terms of a timeline, multiplication is typically introduced in third grade. What I did with the Apologia series is that kids have third and fourth grade to really master their multiplication and their division facts and to become really confident with multiplication, both the facts and, when you start doing it in the vertical format. You're gonna need to put a lot of time into this. Well, more so I should say your kids are gonna need to put a lot of time into this. It just takes time to master. So definitely be thinking about how we can make it fun. And I'm about to show you a bunch of ideas. But if we're gonna spend a lot of time on something, we better make it fun, right? Okay, finally, I'm gonna show you a bunch of different ways that you can teach multiplication and practice multiplication. The idea is for you to personalize it. So I am not expecting that anybody is gonna do flashcards and songs and the games and these worksheets. I just wanted to show you a bunch of things, because if you can try to tailor what you do to how your kid is wired and what they enjoy, it's gonna make a big difference. When you go to work on facts with your kids, so you've already introduced the concept of multiplication, but now they need to rehearse and practice their facts. The number one thing is make sure you group the facts into families. Honestly, when I talk to parents who are teaching multiplication for the first time, or even more so when they're reviewing multiplication facts with their kids because they're like, they didn't get it, this is one of the main things that I think homeschooling parents don't realize, and it really sabotages you before you even start. You don't want to just throw all the multiplication facts under 100 at your kids and be like, we're going to practice it till we get it. It's not effective. It's really hard to learn that way. What you need your child to do is learn a fact family completely and then go on to the next one, because it allows them to link their knowledge. So let me explain what I mean. Take the twos, for instance, 2 times 4, 2 times 5, 2 times 6. Those are very easy for kids typically, because most kids have doubles memorized and they might already know all of them. So that's your first family that you start with, is your twos, and you just make sure either that your child already knows it or you practice it until they know those, lickety split, no hesitation. Then you're gonna do your fives and your tens. And so a lot of kids already know their tens. Fives, they can just kind of have whatever the 10 is. So if they don't know 5 times 7, but they know 7 times 10 is 70, they can get 35. You're gonna stay in that twos, fives, and tens facts until those are like, boom, we got them. And then when you have those, you add in all the threes facts, and then the fours. And so the last groups that you're doing are 6s, 7s, 8s. 9s are actually easier than 6s, 7s, and 8s. But just think about how your child's building connections. So by the time they get to the 8s, which aren't really that easy, there's not a great trick for them, or definitely the 7s, which are just weird, they already know 6 times 7, 5 times 7, 4 times 7. So there's only a few more for them to learn, and it just makes it so much more manageable. I sort our flashcards into different families. Sometimes I do hand-drawn ones so that I can keep a handle on which ones are in and which ones are out. So you can do that. On the times table as well, it's really good to point out the different fact families. In Apologia Math, we have kids coloring them. If they can see the different family groups on there, that really helps them also sort of solidify that connection. Then you're ready to practice. And the simplest way to practice is flashcards. So like I said, I will pre-sort a pile of flashcards. It's just the families that they need to be practicing, and they'll just flip through the flashcards. It's that simple, right? If you want to put just a tiny little bit more effort in, you can do a game called Flashcard War. And I definitely believe in this because it's just that much more effort and it's so much more fun than flipping through flashcards. So you need 2 players, and it follows the same rules as like the war card game. In this case, whoever has the higher product when they put their flashcard down, they win both cards. And you play until one player wins all the cards. In our house, we normally set a timer for however long I want us to practice. And whoever has more cards when the timer goes off wins. Kids love this. I mean, it is so simple, but it makes them so much more excited. They get excited when they start figuring out that they won before they actually calculate the fact just by looking at it. Whenever you're playing games like this, you want kids to be saying the facts out loud. It helps them recall them. So when they're flipping cards over, they should be saying things like 5 times 7 is 35. Saying it out loud solidifies that learning. Another game you can play that is in Apologia Math is multiplication Battleship. So if you're familiar with the rules of Battleship, this one will be pretty straightforward. But you have a game board and you hide your ships by drawing them in on the game board. The game board is also the times table. And then you need to try to guess where your opponent's ships are. How you guess is by saying a fact. So if you say 5 times 7 is 35 and their ship is on that spot, you have a hit. You have to hit all the spots on the ship to sink it. If you say a fact wrong, that's a misfire and your turn is over. This one's fun, and in Apologia Math, we show you exactly how to scaffold it, but you can scaffold it. You can have, in Apologia Math, we have one game board that has all the numbers on there, all the answers on, and the kids are just rehearsing it. Then we have one that's blank, and they have to have it memorized, right? Another thing we do in our household, because Battleship can get kind of long, is you can black out a whole row and say no ships, no ships in the 9s row or the 9s column or something like that. And that dramatically speeds up the game. So we sometimes do that as well. One final way I want to share with you on helping your kids learn multiplication facts is songs. And I'm not going to demonstrate this for you because I can't sing, but songs are a great way to help kids memorize things. And we use a different part of our brain with music and with singing. And so there are a lot of kids where songs would just made it click. I am going to link to a few examples below, but this one gets like really into personal preference, what type of music you like, what kind of things your family deems appropriate. So it's really kind of best if you do a search and like find, oh, this is like what my kid would like, or this would work really well, or I found this CD. But don't like discredit songs. I have had so many kids where it's like it just clicked for them and then they were able to get it. You do have to practice a little bit with them so that they're not overly dependent on singing to remember their facts. So it's a great way to initially memorize, but then you want to rehearse a little bit so that they're not like singing in class trying to remember what the fact is at co-op or something like that. But that's one last suggestion for you, and good luck with these multiplication facts.